Hello students, this is Ardik sir, and today we will be resuming our third part of lesson number first, the Indian Constitution from standard 8, social and political life. As we have already seen about the separation of powers and how there is a balance of power among all these three organs of the government. So we have already seen the separation of power as a key feature of Indian Constitution. Next we have fundamental rights. As the title itself suggests us, in this particular key feature, the people of India are given certain rights. So the section of fundamental rights has often been referred to as conscience of the Indian Constitution. That means, conscience means a part of your mind that tells you that whether you are doing something that is right or wrong. So this part, the fundamental rights, informs us that whatever we are doing, that is right or wrong. So that has been referred to as the conscience of the Indian Constitution. So the fundamental rights are most important. Colonial rule had created a certain suspicion of the state in the minds of the nationalists, and they wanted to ensure that a set of written rights would guard against the misuse of state power. So just to save India, as we can say, from the misuse of state power, only written rights would guard us. So for that, as we had such suspicion from a colonial rule, wherein there were not certain written rights, and though we had to suffer, so that's why only some certain written rights had to be there. A set of written rights had to be there to guard against the misuse of state power in independent India. And this was believed by the nationalists, as we can say, and from that only the Constituent Assembly drafted the constitution in such a way that we can save our country from misuse of power. So fundamental rights therefore protect citizens against the arbitrary and absolute exercise of power by the state. Arbitrary and absolute exercise of power means sometimes something seems unfair, means that hasn't to be taken care of, or that such decision should not be taken care by the time. Such unfair decisions, unfair rule, or absolute power which can be exercised by the state, so only fundamental rights can protect citizens from that. So the constitution thus guarantees the rights of individuals against the state as well as against other individuals. Moreover, the various minority communities also expressed the need for the constitution to include rights that would protect their groups. So for minorities also there was a question. So they also wanted to safeguard their interest, and the various minority groups, minority communities, they expressed their need that the constitution should include rights that would protect their groups. So for the protection of minorities, they wanted some certain rights, and the constitution therefore also guarantees the rights of minorities. We have already studied in previous standard, and also we are going to study the same in the upcoming lessons of the same book, Social and Political Life. So the constitution guarantees the rights of minorities against the majority, as we have seen in the first video about the misuse of power and even also the majoritism. So as Dr. Ambedkar has said about these fundamental rights, their object is twofold. So fundamental rights, it is having two objectives. The first objective is that every citizen must be in a position to claim those rights. Means every citizen claim fundamental rights. And secondly, these rights must be binding upon every authority that has got the power to make laws. Means these fundamental rights will bind every authority which has got the power to make laws. Means they cannot be like autocratic rulers. They cannot form any of the laws. It has to go through certain procedures and without the violation of fundamental rights. How a bill can become law, we have seen judicial review. We are going to study even with the upcoming chapters, but we have already completed that part in our 7th standard. The fundamental rights which we are guaranteed, the citizens of India are guaranteed, are right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights, and right to constitutional remedies, which these all we are going to see in little bit detailed part. First we have right to equality. As we have already studied all these fundamental rights in previous standards, it is just a set of revision for you guys as you are in standard 8 now. So right to equality informs that all persons are equal before law. Every single individual, every single citizen of India is equal before law. This means that all persons shall be equally protected by the laws of the country. Equal protection is given to all the citizens of India. Equal protection. It also states that no citizen can be discriminated. No citizen can be discriminated on the basis of their religion, caste, or sex, or any other part. Means there cannot be any kind of discrimination. There should not be any kind of discrimination in the country on any of the basis. Every person has access to all public places. We all have access to all public places, including playgrounds, hotels, shops, etc. So this offers equality, as we can have the title right to equality. It wants to say that we all are equal before law, all the persons are equal, equally will be protected, there cannot be discrimination, and every single person has access to all public places. The state cannot discriminate against anyone in matters of even employment. The state even cannot discriminate, but there are exceptions to this which we are going to study about in this same book, but after with the upcoming chapters. The practice of untouchability has also been abolished. So now untouchability is also an offense. So this has also been abolished by our constitution. We can find right to freedom, the next fundamental right which is guaranteed to all the citizens of India by the constitution, that is right to freedom. This includes the right to freedom of speech and expression, the right to form associations, the right to move freely and reside in any part of the country, and the right to practice any profession, occupation, or business. Means, as the title suggests you, right to freedom. So we have all these freedoms. As you can come again, freedom of speech and expression, forming associations, moving in any part of the country, and also can reside there, and also can pick up any of the profession, occupation, or business. So these freedoms are also guaranteed to us. Right against exploitation. Again, this is also a fundamental right that is guaranteed by the constitution. So constitution prohibits human trafficking, forced labor, and employment of children under 14 years of age. So this right protects all the citizens from human trafficking, forced labor, or even the children labor, ultimately from because of this fundamental right, that is right against exploitation. Next we have the right to freedom of religion. Every single citizen of India is free to choose or free to practice any of the religions he wants to or she wants to. So religious freedom is provided to all the citizens of India. Every person has right to practice, profess, or propagate the religion of his or her choice. He or she can practice any of the religion, can profess, can say whether that is right or wrong according to his belief. Propagate also means the same, to present his or her ideas or his or her belief about the religion to any of the people. With the same connecting, you can find the cultural and educational rights. Means the constitution states that the minorities, religious, or even linguistic, can set up their own educational institutes to preserve and develop their own culture. So to preserve and develop their own culture, the citizens of India can also set up their own educational institutions. Thus, they have these cultural and educational rights. Again, we have the last but the most important, that right to constitutional remedies. All these fundamental rights are very important. They are all the most important, we can say. Right to constitutional remedies allows the citizens to move the court, as you can understand, to move the court if they find that their fundamental rights have been violated by the state. So states also do not have right to violate the fundamental rights of any of the citizens. If they are violated, then definitely a person, a citizen, can move to the court. So that, as we have already seen with the introductory part, that it guarantees right to individuals against the state as well as against other individuals. So that's why we need all these fundamental rights, and among them, as we are with the last part, the constitutional remedies, right to constitutional remedies that protect us from being violated our fundamental rights. So with the last and the most important key feature, that is secularism. A secular state is one in which the state does not officially promote any one religion as the state religion. The state does not, or the state cannot officially promote any one religion as the state religion. Means it is neutral to all the religions. You now understand the ways in which a country's history, means ultimately because of our history, whatever we find somewhere, that is always based upon history, that often determines the kind of constitution that a country adopts for itself. So why we have such constitution, why we have added secularism or the word secular in our constitution? So there is a history behind it also, and the constitution plays a crucial important role in laying out the ideals that we would like all citizens of the country to adhere to stick to follow to. Means all the citizens of the country have to follow, have to stick to the rules and regulations laid down in the constitution, because we want such India, we want our country, what it should like be, what it should be, that is all mentioned in our constitution. As we have seen in the first video, that constitution reflects that what a country should be like. So including the representatives that we elect to rule us, means all the citizens and including the representatives, we all have to stick to the rules or follow the rules as laid down in the constitution. As we are now to the sum up part, we are going to conclude lesson very soon. So just like the game of football, as we have already seen, a change of constitutive rules, if we change the rules, that will obviously affect the game. So Indian constitution has been amended. Amended means changed over, means some particular laws or rules have been changed over the years to reflect new concerns of the polity. Often a major change in the constitution means a change in the fundamental nature. So if there is a major change in the game of football, that means there is a change with its constitutive rules, means its fundamental nature has now changed. So if there is a major change, then we can say that the fundamental nature of the country has now changed. And we saw this in the case of Nepal, as they had the final or super authority was a king, and how they adopted a new constitution and became a democratic society. So this is the end of the part 3. Keep reading, keep learning, learn all these key features along with fundamental rights. They are all long answers, very important questions. Thank you all. Keep learning.